second mimer from Dvar Malchus. We are holding on page Yud Beis. And we were speaking about on line 4. We were speaking about the idea and the seeming contradiction that in the beginning of the parsha, the Torah enumerates all different types of reasons. All different types of places that the Yidden angered the Eibishter, but because of Kvoiden Shel Yisrael, Rashi says, because of the honor of the Yidden, the Torah chose to not explicitly state it and just hint it. But later on, we find that the Torah does explicitly state cases and situations where Yidden were rebellious and Yidden made Hashem angry. So, if we're worried about the honor of the Yidden, why later on is the Torah more explicit? And if we're not worried about the honor of the Yidden, why are we hiding and hinting at the different times that the Yidden did things inappropriately by all these different place names, like at the beginning of the parsha? So we're holding line 4 on page Yud Beis. Therefore, we must say, the reason why the Torah concealed the matters and only mentioned those situations with a hint because of the Yidden's honor. Obviously, there's insufficient even a hint to rebuke. You don't always have to rebuke by pointing out the person explicitly what they did wrong. By hinting at what they did wrong, that's sufficient rebuke. If that's sufficient rebuke, what's the reason that in other places, in Chumash Dvarim itself, Moshe Rabbeinu had to rebuke them explicitly and openly without hints? Though we know, and it's a famous Gemara in Menachos, that it says that Moshe Rabbeinu was a lover of the Jewish people. And being that he loved the Jewish people, he obviously would not do something that would pain them unnecessarily. So if it would have been just sufficient to have the Yidden just be rebuked by hint, so Moshe Rabbeinu, since he was an Ohev Yisrael, would not have done so in a different manner, in a manner which would have been, which is more hurtful and at least is something that damages the glory and the honor of the Yid. So he says, line number 10 in page Yud Beis, Tzemach Tzedek continues. So the Moshe Alshich that we brought earlier that asked this question, Tzemach Tzedek brought down to the Moshe Alshich, and the Moshe Alshich, after asking the question, gives his own answer. He says, and the Moshe Alshich says, that Moshe Rabbeinu's mouth opened up in a wise way, litos bekan kaneim. Literally, it means to like knock on the bottles to see what's the situation over here. If it is appropriate, if they are ready to receive rebuke, and that is why once he determined if they are able to receive rebuke, that was done in the initial stages. Then afterwards, he actually gave them rebuke in an open way. So the Tzemach Tzedek says, who doich? But Tzemach Tzedek is a difficult answer. Masik, and Tzemach Tzedek comes to the conclusion that therefore we can answer like the Ramoshe Zakut answers and explains on his commentary on the Zohar and the Pirush on the Zohar. The two types of rebuke that Moshe Rabbeinu rebuked Am Yisrael, echad b'derech nister u'beremt. One rebuke was in a concealed way and a way of a hint, like we spoke about right away at the beginning of the parsha. The echad, the pasuk Ela Advarim, the pasuk Ela Advarim Sharam Islam Shemes Kol Hamakoyim Shechatu Behem, that he hinted to them in that pasuk all the names of all the different places that they sinned. Hu nimshach migvuris the Abba v'Ima Shem Nalom. This comes from the levels known as the severities of Chachma Bina, that these are concealed. Why are the severities, the level of Gvura of Chachma Bina, which is father and mother, why is that concealed? Ki Abba v'Ima nikroim ad nistoris la'avaya l'keinu. That it says concerning Chachma Bina, it says Yud K is nistoris la'avaya l'keinu. Chachma Bina is considered something that's concealed. Bechinas Alma Deskasi, it's the level of the world of concealment, and therefore, since it's the world of concealment, the rebuke, the Gevura, also comes and comes to us and is expressed in a concealed manner, in a hidden way, in a way of hints, not explicitly stated. And the second way, and the second approach of rebuke is when Moshe Rabbeinu explicitly told them, you are rebellious, it's a revealed rebuke. It's for repairing Zeir Anpin, the Midas, and Malchus, we know that Midas and Malchus are revealed, because Vavke is called Vavke, Vav is their Anpin, the Midas, the six Midas, and Hey Achroin of Yudke Vavke is Malchus. They are what's revealed, like it's like brings our Chassidus off from the Lashon. V'haniglois lanu levaneinu, and the stars Hashem Elokeinu. V'haniglois. So Chassidus says v'haniglois can be read. Just divide the word. Vavke niglois. So Vavke is what's revealed. So the rebuke that has to come to repair and fix up the level of Zah and Malchus. So to do so, that needs to be in a revealed way. That needs to be an open rebuke. That's why there's some parts of Chumash Dvarim where Moshe Rabbeinu rebuked them open. Let's learn another paragraph before we open it up to questions. The Tzemach Tzedek continues to explain this matter in the service of a Yitarei. Also, the Neshama has two levels, just like in the Oilmas Al Yoinim, there is the Yudke and the Vavke, there is the Chachma Bina, and there's the Zoh and Malchus. The same thing in the person, there is in a similar way a division of what's concealed and what's revealed. We're not going exactly about Chachma Bina and Midas and Malchus, but the main point is this type of demarcation between what is concealed and what's revealed. So he says, the Achas, one level, the Neshama Hamlobesh is the Guf B'chinas Arpnim, the level of the Neshama that's enclosed in the body in a way that it's an internalized light. It's a light that goes into the body and is permeating the body. Behein B'chinas Nefesh Ruach and Neshama. These are the three levels known by the Rosh Tevis Naran, Nefesh Ruach Neshama. That becomes enclosed in the body in an internalized fashion. Vashniyam, the second type of level of by the neshama of a person, top of page Yud Gimel, it's the level of Chai Yechida, which is the transcendent level. These two levels, the levels of Naran versus the level of Chai Yechida. Naran is the Isgalia of the person, just like in El Masal Yoinim, there's Alma the Isgalia. The level of Chai Yechida, which that's Makif, that's Alma, that's the Iskasi of the person, the concealed part of the person, just like in El Masal Yoinim, there's Alma the Iskasi, there's a concealed world. Zewatam, Chai Yechida, Nirmazris be'ois Yud u'bekutzoi shel Yud. This is the reason why Chassidus says that Chaya and Yechida are hinted respectively in the letter Yud and on the point on top of the Yud. The Chaya is the Yud itself, and the Yechida is the point on top. Shayud in the Kudabalvad. The idea that Yud is only a point that indicates concealment. It's barely anything. It's just a drop of ink on paper. And if the Yud is barely anything, and if the Yud is a matter of concealment, how much more so Valachas Kama V'Kama Kutzishal Yud, how much more so the point of the Yud, She'ena Afilu B'chinas Nekuda, it's not even a point. It's not even a dot. It's the point of the dot. So he says, Masha'enkin Nefesh Ruach Neshama, as opposed to the three levels of Nefesh Ruach Neshama, Moses Begimul Oisius Hey Vav Hey, they are hinted in the three letters, the three latter letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei. The Nefesh is the last Hey, the Ruach is the Vav, and the level of Neshama is the Hey, the first Hey. Shem Bechinas Oisius Mamish, they're Mamish letters, not like the Yud, which is just a dot on a piece of paper. Hine, Shem Sheyesh Chiluk Bein Oifen Avoid, Tzad Bechinas Nefesh Ruach and Neshama, Shiv Bechinas Gilu, just like there's a difference between the level and the type of avoid that comes as a result of Nefesh Ruach and Neshama. That's in a way of revelation. Shiv Bechinas Gilu, Loifen Avoid, Shem Tzad Bechinas Chai Yechida, Shiv Bechinas Hel. The type of avoid that results from the level of the neshama of Chai Yechida, which is concealed, is a different type of avoidam. So too, there's a difference in the manner of repair. When we have to repair and elevate and transform the Chai Yechida versus the Nefesh Ruach Neshama, which that's the idea of rebuke. Rebuke is about repairing what was wrong. That the repair for the levels of Nefesh Ruach Neshama is through a revealed rebuke, because they are the revealed parts of the soul. So therefore, the revealed parts of the soul, one needs to use the revealed tools. In the fixing up the level of Chai Yechida, it's through the rebuke that's in a hint. To be able to awake the Chai Yechida, you don't have to give him over the head with a blunt instrument. It's enough if you just rebuke with just a hint, because the concealed needs a concealed type of approach. You gotta do it with a softer approach. To be able to awaken the Nefesh Ruach Neshama, you need to have a techacha in an openly revealed way. Okay, let's see if we can finish the mimer today, and let's leave the questions for the end. Yes, lakasher in the Torah parsha saying of mimer hasheni, we could connect this what's explained in the Torah and our parsha, the second mimer. Concerning where it says, let us go and clarify the matter. Let's debate or open up a discussion about this matter. If your sins will be as like a red type of string that's very red, they will become whitened like snow. If they will be red like this other thing, like toilon, certain dye that comes out of a certain animal, they will be like wool. So the Alter Rebbe explains over there, what's the two expressions, like snow and like wool? The idea that they will be whitened like snow, through drawing down the 13 attributes of mercy. Why is that so? Shalzen them are concerning the level of Keser and the level of Atik. It says, Atik Yomin Yosef, says the one that's ancient of days, we're sitting Levusha Kislag Chiver, that his garment is like white snow. It says over there in the Vuz Daniel. This means that snow is the idea of a garment. Level, they will be like wool, is an even higher level. That's what it says in the pasuk. That it says also in that nevuah that the hair of his head is like clean wool. So one is outside of the body, the garment that shows a lower level. The other is the hair of the head, which is part of the body. That's a higher level. So we see that the wool is a higher level than snow. The level of the hair of his head, it's from the essence. In other words, it comes from the person himself, and it's higher than his garment. That's the level of the chesed. That's even higher than the 13 attributes of mercy, top of page Yudal. Like it says in Eitz Chaim. That the level of the hair of his head, for example, is such type of amshachas from the innermost level of the supernal kindness, that's completely without end. That has no mixture of judgment in it whatsoever. As opposed to the level of the white snow, the lower level, the level of the Yud Gimel Sarachmim, even though it's Yud Gimel Sarachmim, it's still a garment, it's still external, there's still some type of mixture of judgment over there. We could say that's what it says, the Alter Rebbe says in Chutei Torah. Now the Rebbe brings it down to us. We could say that the analogy or the example of this in the service of a person of these two levels of snow and wool in a sheleg who inyan ha'avodah shemitzad bechinas nefesh ruach neshama. The level of snow is the level of the avodah that comes out of and is connected with the three external levels, the revealed levels of the soul of Naran. The level of the wool is the type of level of avodah that comes from Chai Yechida. It's a much deeper and higher level that negates any type of dinim over there. Since the drawing down of the two levels of snow and wool, the pasuk begins, let us please go and challenge and clarify. Nevacha is related to the word techachas, as inyan ha-techechas, the idea of rebuke. So these two things of snow and wool are connected, and as a result of the rebuke, the whitening of the sins and so on is a result of the tikkun that takes place through the rebuke. So therefore, since there's two types of levels of snow and wool, two types of levels of revelation, two types of levels that have to be repaired and mistaken. So therefore, there's two types of levels of rebuke. A revealed rebuke that is concerning the avodah, that has to do with the levels of nefesh, ruach, neshama, like we spoke about before. That is the open rebuke in Chumash Dvarim, because that's the type of rebuke that it needs. Because it's a revealed level, it needs a revealed rebuke. And that type of rebuke brings down the hamshacha from above. That's the level of snow, the level of Yud Gimel Sarachim, the level that's only a garment. And the concealed rebuke concerning the avodah that comes and deals with the Chai Yechid of the nefesh, as amshachem, the b'chinas semer, it awakens and draws down the amshacha, that's the level of wool. Further, nice dalet on page Yudal. Yes, like we get add shekibim shekol and yonim shach ma'idei Torah, since all matters come down through Torah. Also the content of the matter of the two types of rebuke, a revealed rebuke and a concealed rebuke, it's also to be found the way it is in Torah. In Galia the Torah, there's the revealed part of the Torah. That from the revealed part of the Torah comes out a revealed and open rebuke. Pneumius Nister the Torah, and the inner part, the concealed part of Torah. That from that comes down the concealed rebuke, as the Rebbe will explain. But the idea behind this is the Torah, the Pneumius Torah, the difference in the revealed part of the Torah and the inner part of the Torah. While it's similar to the difference between snow and wool. Both we said the snow and the wool are higher than Seder Shtalshlus. You'd give me the Sarachmim, the 13 attributes, that's also higher than Seder Shtalshlus. Atik Yomin Yaseh Vilavushik Islar Chiver. He was sitting, it's talking about Atik Yomin, it's talking about a level of Kesser that's wearing this white garment. And the wool is even higher, of course, but the point is, both of them are very high. The same thing, Torah is beyond the world as well. Called Malkum still more Yeshchil been named. There's a difference between the two of them. That snow has in it a little bit of a mixture of judgment and severity, like we spoke about before. As opposed to wool that has no mixture of judgment or severity whatsoever. So now let us apply that concerning the inner part of the Torah, which we liken to wool, and the Techacha Nistara, versus the outer and external part, the revealed part of the Torah. Line 29, the inner part of the Torah is a level that's higher than the chain order of descent, that has no limitations whatsoever. It's not even associated with, say, the Rishtalshlus in any way, shape, or form. Mitzad Goydel Malosan, because of its great quality and level, Ad Lamata Mata. Therefore, it is so high. The higher something is, the more powerful it is, and it could reach even the lowest, most level, top of page Tesvav. Gam al misha nafal lamata b'yoser, even for someone that has fallen very low. In the room is b'techachan starter, like it's hinted in the concealed rebuke. We said that the concealed rebuke is hinted in or it's rooted in the inner part of the Torah, in the concealed part of the Torah. And what do we find as one of the parts of the rebuke that's concealed? The concealed rebuke is even for the most severe type of offense. Like it says, these zahav, that much and a lot and sufficient gold. And like we have, Rashi explains, it's because of the egel that they made, the golden calf they made because of too much gold. So obviously, this is the most severest of the sins. This is the lowest of the lowest of the sins. It's the opposite of the first two aseres adibris. I am Hashem your God. You should not have any other gods before you. It affects also someone that fell through, heaven forbid, in a matter of avodah zarah. The Nisr Shabbat is so powerful, it can reach so low, even to someone that fell so low that it could transform the darkness to light. And therefore, being that it's the inner part of the Torah, the Teichacha is also in a concealed manner, in a way that it deals with the concealed part of the soul, which was, he doesn't say this explicitly over here, but perhaps we can connect it that way, that what touches the Yechidah Shemenefesh is a matter of Avodah Zarah. That's why in a normal situation, a person is ready to give up his life for Avodah Zarah, whereas other mitzvahs in the Torah is not ready to give up his life. And the Yidden that were nichshel in the level of Avodah Zarah, in the Egel Azov, that means that they needed a tikkun that reached all the way to the depth of the neshama of Chai Yechidah. For that, we needed to have the highest, most revelation of light, the level of tzemer, the level of the inner part of the Torah. That inner part of the Torah was powerful enough to reach to the lowest type of the tikkun. Ois Hey, page Tesva. Pizzi Ish Levire, according to this, we can explain. Mashachad Hein Yom the Techach Nistar. One of the topics, one of the concepts that's brought down in the concealed rebuke, and we said, like we said before, the root of the concealed rebuke is the level of the inner part of the Torah, the concealed part of the Torah. So what do we see in Rashi? Says Shetaflu alaman shu lavan. They piled up and they attacked the man that it is white. So that was white. So the question is, what's the whiteness of the man have anything to do with anything? The lachura mashetafla laman ain't the shaychlos asham man hoyalav, and the idea that they attached themselves and they attacked, if you will, the idea of the man had nothing to do with the whiteness of the man. They say because the man is white, therefore we don't like it. So what's this issue that in the Techacha Nistara, in the concealed rebuke, it was brought up the whiteness of the man? The idea behind this is the idea of the man is that it's bread from heaven, in such a manner, also the way it comes down here below to be food and sustenance for a physical body. It remains in the very same essence the way it was above, it came down here below. And that's why there was no waste product from it, etc. Because of how high it was, just like we said before, that Pnimius HaTorah is very high, therefore it could be misakin, the lowest type of thing. The same thing, the man was so high, it could come down to every year. Even those that were in a low level, that they had to even crush it, it didn't come ready-made food for them. They had to work on preparing the man into food, but they also got the man because that was how high that reached so low. Even when the man became absorbed in the person's body, it became his blood and his flesh, like his own blood and flesh. So then maybe the man would have transitioned and would have become like the person that it became part of. It would like lose its elevated stature. So he says, no. It remained in its very being the way it was. It was bread from heaven. Paul Alayman affected them, like it says that they were that the Torah was only given to those that consumed the man, etc. So we see that the man, instead of being pulled down and drawn down by becoming absorbed into the physical body of the Yid, it was just the opposite. That the man retained its elevated status and affected the Yid no matter who he was. That's because of his great quality and level. Since he was very high, therefore there were no boundaries and limitations. And that's actually why the man was actually white. This idea of the white color indicates simplicity, purity, non-complexity, non-limitedness. Being in big like it's explained in the Mamar Yom Kippur about the linen garments of the Yom Kippur for the Kohen Gadol, they were white. That indicates the purity and simplicity that comes from a very high level, a non-complex, non-limited level. Since the man, even when it descended down here below, remained in the very same way that it was, beyond limitations. And therefore it was a white in color, to indicate its simplicity and purity. Top of page design. Let's call time, and because the whiteness in it, that is its purity and simplicity and unlimited form. That's why it included all flavors in it, and you could taste any flavor you wanted in the mum. Yet, despite that its purity and simplicity included everything, all the different flavors that were included in the man was not in such a way that they could actually see the thing that they imagined. So if they imagined a piece of steak, The man didn't start looking like steak. It tasted like steak, but it didn't look like steak. Like normal eating, that you see what it looks like. The steak looks like a piece of steak that you've tasted the flavor of. All they saw was man. Why was that way? Why was it that way? That they still only saw man? Because the flavors in the man were not in a way of taking already a form, but they remained and retained their purity and simple state. That's why they complained about the man that's white. Their complaint was you cannot grasp these flavors that they tasted in the man. Since it was in a state of purity, it was white. In truth, why couldn't they see it? This is because of how great the quality of the man was. That even when it came down below, it was the same way like it was above. Therefore, it was in a state of purity and simplicity. But because of their descent and how low the Yidden were, they did not desire to have a food that was in a way of purity and simplicity. Therefore, they complained about the man that is white. They didn't want that simple purity of the man. Even by those people that complained, also by them, the man became blood and flesh, like their own flesh, and it affected them. Because the great advantage and quality of the man, there was no limitation. It could descend very much below canal, like I said before. The idea of man in Torah. That Torah in general is likened to bread. In other words, there's lechem in the earth, bread from the ground, that's likened to the revealed part of the Torah. And the inner part of the Torah is likened to man, which is called lechem in the Shemayim, bread from heaven. As it's known, the difference between the revealed part of the Torah to the inner part of the Torah, it's similar to the difference between bread from the earth and bread from heaven, that one, you see the physicality of it, and then Torah, and then revealed part of Torah, you're dealing with physical things, whereas the lechem and hashmayim, you see how spiritual it is. It was white, it had all the flavors and so on, where just like in Pnimis HaTorah, you're more in tune with the spiritual aspect of it. And that's why one of the ideas that's in the concealed rebuke is Teufel and love, and that they attached themselves and complained about the man that's white, because the great quality of the inner part of Torah. And started that from that comes down to concealed rebuke, and then it comes down very much below. Tikkun, to effect a repair, also on those that complained about the man, the inner part of the Torah. Those that attack the inner part of the Torah, this blemishes the concealed parts of the neshama. Just like the man affected and became the blood and flesh, like their own flesh, of even of those that complained against the man. The same thing, the inner part of the Torah, which connects with me, I am now attacking that inner part of me, the Chai Yechidah. That, like the Chazal say, the luminary that's in it. Ma'ir Dafka, specifically, it says the Ma'ir of the Torah, which goes the Koyal Pnimis HaTorah, refers on the inner part of the Torah, Machzir L'Mutav, it returns him to good. Just like the man affected the inner part of the Yidden and elevated them. Any questions?